In this video, we'll primarily be looking at the 24 letters of the Greek alphabet and the sound that each letter makes. So let me encourage you to pause the video for a second, grab a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper, draw a few lines across the page, and then just follow along with me as I write out the alphabet. Well, let's start out by writing out all the letters of the alphabet and just get them out on the paper here. We have alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, psi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma. Notice there's two sigmas. We'll come back and talk about that in just a minute. Tau, upsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega. Now note that some letters do extend above the dotted line and other letters will drop below the line as well. So be mindful of that as you write out your letters. Let's take a look at each letter and what sound is associated with each. First one is alpha. It sounds like the A in father. Ah. The beta sounds like the English B. The gamma sounds like the English G. One thing to note about the gamma is there is something called the gamma nu. And the nu has an N sound. And if the gamma comes up against another gamma, that's the most common case. You may also see a kappa or a chi, psi. But if the gamma comes up against these letters, it'll take an N sound rather than that G sound. So for instance, if you had angelos, the initial gamma, rather than say aggelos, we would just say angelos. So it takes an N sound, angelos. The delta has an English D sound. The epsilon sounds like the E in set or met. The zeta has a DZ sound, a double consonant sound. DZ, like in kudzu. And the eta sounds like the A in day, has a long A sound. The theta has a double consonant TH sound, like the end of sloth or moth. The iota can be long or short, so it can sound like the I in sit, or it can have a long E sound, like in meat. The kappa has an English K sound. Lambda sounds like the English L. The mu sounds like the English M. The nu sounds like the English N. Psi has a double consonant sound, like in books, ks, KS sound. The omicron sounds like the O in hot. The pi has an English P sound. The rho has an English R sound, like in row or roll. Note that you have two sigmas. The initial sigma will come at the beginning or in the middle of a word, and the final sigma will come only at the end of a word. So for instance, if we have the word apostolos, apostle. So note this sigma in the middle looks like that, and the sigma at the end looks like that. It's called a final sigma, and it will only come at the end of a word. The tau sounds like the English T. Upsilon sounds like oo, as in soup. Phi sounds like the PH in phone. It's a double consonant sound. F. The chi has a soft K sound, like the CH in Bach. So not as hard as the K sound, k, but softer. Bach. Psi has a PS double consonant sound, like hoops, like the end of hoops. Ps. And the omega has a long O sound, like in the word tone, O. All right, now you want to be able to write out your alphabet, memorize it. It's helpful to put it to a tune. A Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is usually what I recommend. So you can do something like this. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, psi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, tau, upsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega. And it's a quick way to memorize it. Kind of silly, but usually little silly things sticks in your memory better. So just find what works for you. Now, be sure to practice these sounds so that just by looking at the letter, you automatically think about the sound that's associated with it. It should just be instinctive. Note that some of the letters could be confused with English letters. So you have something like eta looks a little bit like the N, or the nu looks like a V, an English V. The rho looks a bit like a P, and the omega looks like a W. So just be careful about those and don't let those throw you. The letters we've written here are the lowercase letters. The original manuscripts were, for the most part, written in uppercase letters. Lowercase didn't come along until the 9th century, but we'll be dealing with the lowercase letters. That's mainly what you'll be dealing with in your Greek New Testament and other Koine text. So memorize these well, be able to write them out, and again, just know instinctively the sounds associated with each one. In fact, let's just do a quick exercise and see how you're doing on your sounds. Let me write out a word, and you see if you can say it out loud. So if I write this, lagos, lagos. Good. How about that? Phos, phos. Now don't worry about what they mean at this point. Let's just think about the sounds of each letter. And what if I wrote this? Whoop. Let's do, how about that? Deca, deca. Good. And how about that? Gar. And one more. Grapho, grapho. Good. So again, just work on those sounds associated with each letter. Now, capital letters do, of course, appear in the Greek New Testament and other Koine writings, so be able to recognize those. Now, some of these can look a little odd. For instance, gamma is a bit odd. That's your capital gamma. One that used to throw me when I was first learning elementary Greek was the eta. This is your capital eta there. Looks like a capital H. Upsilon is a bit unusual. It's your capital upsilon there. Now, where do you find capital letters in our Greek New Testaments? Well, capital letters are found in proper names. You'll find that the first word that begins a new section is capitalized, and also the first word that begins a quotation will be capitalized. But again, I don't think you'll have any problem recognizing most of these capital letters. Just be familiar with them. Also note that I'm using in these videos Erasmian pronunciation. This is the traditional pronunciation system that's used to teach Koine Greek in most institutions. Your professor may want you to learn an alternate pronunciation if you're taking this in a class setting, but for the sake of these videos, we'll be using just the Erasmian pronunciation. Also note that there are blank sheets in your course pack for you to practice writing your letters, so practice with those until you're comfortable writing out each letter of the alphabet.